Hello and welcome to Express News with me, Deepika, your daily half-an-hour window that brings you 100 news and updates from the country and the world in 30 minutes. Let's begin. India becomes the third largest power in the Asia Power Index, surpassing Japan. Goldman Sachs predicts India will remain among the world's fastest-growing economies until 2030, fueled by robust GDP growth and investor optimism. Goldman Sachs said that India's profit pool is likely to shift towards investment cyclicals like autos, real estate and chemicals along with the industrials. Moody's Analytics and S&P Global have backed the claim, saying that India's economy is projected to grow faster and to remain above 6.8% for the fiscal year 2024-25. Indian government's flagship initiative, Make in India, celebrates a decade of transformation and transforming the entire nation into a global manufacturing hub producing cutting-edge technologies. India's Trade Minister Piyush Goyal said that mobile imports stood at 48,609 crore rupees in 2014-15. By 2023-24, it has dropped to 7,665 crore rupees. In a LinkedIn blog, Prime Minister Narendra Modi complimented the drivers of Make in India, stating that each of you is a pioneer, visionary and innovator. On the 10th anniversary of Make in India, ITC Corporate Affairs President Anil Rajput said the success of the initiative illustrates the collective resolve of 140 crore Indians to make the nation a powerhouse of manufacturing and innovation. India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir concluded the second phase of its assembly elections on Wednesday. This phase will determine the fate of 239 candidates. A multi-tier security blanket has been thrown around polling stations to ensure that polling can take place in a free and fair manner. Polling booths are guarded by security cameras as well. India's Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar said in New Delhi on Wednesday that polling in Jammu and Kashmir was taking place with much enthusiasm. Foreign diplomats are visiting Jammu and Kashmir to witness the election process at the invitation of India's Ministry of External Affairs. Electioneering gains momentum in the northern Indian state of Haryana. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a public rally at Sonipat on Wednesday ahead of 5th of October assembly polls. India's Minister of Minority Affairs, Kiran Rijiju, on Wednesday briefed the media on his ministry's 100-day achievements, focusing on artisan support, minority education and inclusive growth. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar inaugurated the second edition of UP International Trade Show in Greater Noida on Wednesday. The 8th edition of a joint military exercise between India and Kazakhstan, codenamed Kazinth 2024, is scheduled in the northern Indian state of Uttarakhand from 30th September to 13th of October. India's Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw on Tuesday reviewed the trial of Kavach 4.0 system between Savai Madhopur and Indargarh railway station in West Central Railway Zone. The review meeting for the 55th International Film Festival was held on Tuesday. Deliberations were made on strategies to make this year's festival more people-centric, inclusive and festive. All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi, is celebrating its 69th Foundation Day on Wednesday. India's Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare, Pratap Rao Jadhav, presided over the Foundation Day celebrations in New Delhi. Over 500 extremists in northeastern state of Tripura laid down arms, embracing mainstream life in a landmark move towards peace and stability. India's benchmark indices, BSE Sensex and NSE Nifty 50 surged to record highs, with Sensex gaining 255 points to close at 85,169. Nifty 50 touched an all-time high of 26,032 before ending Wednesday's session at 26,004. Broader indices ended lower, with Nifty Mid Cap 100 and Nifty Small Cap 100 indices ending down by 0.63% and 0.42% respectively. The Indian rupee rose 3 paise to close at 80.6 against the US dollar. Gold futures maturing on the 4th of October stood at 75,070 per 10 grams on Multi-Commodity Exchange of India. Silver futures maturing on the 5th of December were retailing at 91,711 per kilogram on the MCX. Oil prices fell on Wednesday as investors reassessed the ability of China's stimulus plans to boost the economy enough to drive more fuel demand growth in the world's largest crude importer. Brent crude futures dropped 17 cents to $75 a barrel, while the US West Texas Intermediate crude fell 24 cents at $71.32 a barrel. Markets in the Asia-Pacific region were largely stable on Wednesday. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 dipped slightly, while the broader Topix gained 0.3%. South Korea's Kospi rose 0.4%. The dollar dipped to a fresh one-month low versus the euro after weak US macroeconomic data boosted case for a second supersized interest rate cut. Israel shot down a missile that armed group Hezbollah fired at Tel Aviv, further intensifying the conflict. Hundreds of thousands of Lebanese have fled their homes in the wake of rising tensions. Hezbollah has taken responsibility for the missile attack, claiming to have targeted Israeli spy agency Mossad's headquarters near Tel Aviv. In separate attack, 3 people were injured in Hezbollah rocket barrage on northern Israeli kibbutz. In his fourth and final address to the United Nations General Assembly, as the US President Joe Biden asked the warring parties in West Asia to accept the peace deal and urged continued support for Ukraine. Poland's President Andrzej Duda urged Russia to end the conflict with Ukraine in his address to UNGA on Tuesday, adding that conflict poses a direct threat to global order and security. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres denounced a growing number of governments and other groups who feel that they are entitled to get out of jail free card. In an interaction in New York City's Asia Society Policy Institute, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that unless there is peace and tranquility on the border, there is no scope of normalization of relations with China. India's External Affairs Minister met his Guyanese counterpart Hugh Hilton toured in New York, during which he said that the bilateral partnership has been steadily progressing in various dimensions. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau faces a no-confidence motion in the Parliament, introduced by opposition Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Russian forces on Wednesday took control of Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. Russia claimed that it thwarted 5 Ukrainian attempts to breach Kursk region. Addressing a Security Council meeting on Ukraine-Russia, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said that peace in Ukraine cannot be achieved by negotiations alone. On the sidelines of the UNGA in New York, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the UN has turned a blind eye to excesses committed by Ukraine's forces in their incursion into Russia's Kursk region. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni urged the United Nations to fight illegal human trafficking and criminal organizations at the General Assembly on Tuesday. Japanese citizens showed mixed opinions about their choice of candidates for a succession vote to elect a new prime minister. The election will be held on Friday. Thailand launched the first phase of its flagship $14 billion stimulus handout scheme on Wednesday that is expected to benefit 45 million citizens who will each get $305. China publicly acknowledged for the first time that it successfully launched an intercontinental ballistic missile into the Pacific Ocean on Wednesday. Sri Lanka will witness a snap parliamentary election on 14th November after President Anura Kumara Dissanayake dissolved the parliament on Tuesday. During his visit to Australia, India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal addressed a joint press conference in Adelaide with his Australian counterpart Don Farrell. The International Monetary Fund's Executive Board is set to consider Pakistan's 37-month extended fund facility arrangement of about $7 billion on Wednesday. Venezuela's Attorney General Tariq Saab said he has requested Interpol to issue an arrest warrant for Argentine President Javier Milei, the latest in a diplomatic spat between the two countries. Austria's far-right leader Herbert, only politician with one of the lowest approval ratings, is in race for chancellorship in the upcoming parliamentary election scheduled to take place on Sunday. Time to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. Let's continue. Residents joined hands with firefighters in order to combat massive wildfire that broke out in Ecuador's Quito, engulfing the city in a thick layer of smoke. The mayor of the Ecuador's capital, Quito, Pepe Munoz, has urged the citizens to keep roads and streets clear so that fire brigades could move through the city to combat the fire hotspots. The recent floods in the north-central coast region of Vietnam have caused damage to residential areas, schools and medical stations. The environment has also been seriously polluted, causing risk of disease outbreaks. The local authorities are in coordination with military and police units, which are focusing on cleaning up the surroundings. 7 people are dead in torrential downpours in Japan's central Ishikawa prefecture that have caused rivers to flood. 10 people rescued near the Nakaya tunnel in landslide hit Japan's Bajima city. 2 were later confirmed dead. Reconstruction works were underway. Visitors at the Mexico's tourist hotspot, Cancun, made the most of the beach recreation despite being warned of tropical storm Helene. Forecasts show Helene reaching Category 1 hurricane status on 25th September. Florida's annual hurricanes have grown more frequent and severe in recent years due to global warming. Cuban population is gearing up to protect their belongings and reinforce wooden bridges before the arrival of tropical storm Helene. Rain began lashing western Cuba on Tuesday morning, prompting the authorities to shut down schools, close ports and recall fishing boats. Mutang, a pygmy hippopotamus living in Thailand, gained fame both locally and internationally after a zookeeper posted her photos and videos on social media. Due to her popularity, the zoo set up daily live streaming for those who cannot visit in person. During the weekend, nearly 10,000 visitors came to see the calf. The 21st China-ASEAN Expo and China-ASEAN Business and Investment Summit opened on Tuesday in South China's Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region. This year, the Expo has added new pavilions such as strategic emerging topics, digital technology and ASEAN high-tech products. The third Asia International Water Week kicked off in Beijing, bringing together participants from around the world to share insights on global water security amid current environmental challenges. Officials and experts on water-related issues from 70 countries have gathered for the 5-day event to explore new strategies and solutions for water security challenges. 3 generations of a Chinese family have tirelessly worked to turn sands into a sustainable oasis in China's Babusha, showcasing a remarkable journey of resilience and innovation. Together, Guo Wonggong and his fellow guardians developed an innovative planting and mechanization method that utilized grids surrounded by straw to effectively hold back the sand. Tourists from around the globe are flocking in to see these adorable pandas in China's Sichuan, and some Hong Kong tourists travel to Sichuan to welcome Hong Kong's new residents. The China Giant Panda Protection and Research Center has established 4 major bases in Sichuan. Pandas also created business opportunities ranging from new tourism and market creation. Astronaut Sunita Williams has taken command of the International Space Station. This is the second time she will be leading the orbiting laboratory. Williams and Butch Wilmore will have been aboard the International Space Station since the 5th of June. Constant technical issues with the Starliner spaceship have delayed their return to Earth until February 2025. China's FAST, a giant radio telescope project, launched construction on its second phase, incorporating an array of movable radio telescopes around the main parabola. Spain has adopted a target for 81% of its electricity from renewable sources by the year 2030. This marks a 9-point increase on 23% target set out in the last plan from 2021. World's oceans are close to becoming too acidic to properly sustain marine life, a new report has revealed. The report highlights increasing carbon dioxide emissions for excess acidification. A dangerous train car chemical leak in United States, Ohio led to evacuation orders on 24th September. Drone video shows calm before the storm as a beautiful sunset of Tampa, Florida, ahead of tropical storm Helene's expected push into the Gulf of Mexico this week. The skies above Australia's Darwin have been filled with colourful colours for the yearly kite festival. The event has taken off along the city's coastline, delighting the participants and the tourists. Central Australian Desert Festival organised its final performance of the year, attracting the visitors from across the world to the Northern Territory's Red Centre. A new wax figure of singer Rihanna is going on display at Madame Tussauds. The figure stands in the museum's fashion runway zone. Swiss designer Kevin Germania presented his all glitters, rhinestones and tassels collection in Paris Fashion Week. Germania, who designed some memorable looks in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games opening ceremony, is known to use recycled materials in his collections. Christian Dior design Maria Grazia showed playful, sport-themed fashion for Spring-Summer 2025 ready-to-wear collections at the Paris Fashion Week. Johnny Depp presented Modi 3 Days on the Wing of Madness, his second film as director, at the San Sebastian Film Festival in northern Spain on September the 24th. Addressing a news conference at the film festival, Johnny Depp said that he was encouraged to direct 3 Days on the Wing of Madness after a very strange phone call from Al Pacino. A statue depicting legendary music singer-songwriter Johnny Cash was unveiled at the US Capitol on 24th of September. Costumes, weapons and props that represent favorite moments from the HBO show Game of Thrones are on display at Heritage Auctions in Manhattan. The items are also available for viewing online. Lady Gaga has announced that a much-anticipated new musical work will drop on 27th of September. Titled Harley Quinn, the album is inspired by her role as Harley Quinn in Joker. Pixar has dropped first look of Dream Productions, a spin-off Inside Out. The 4-part limited series will debut on Disney Plus on 11th of December this year, while Win or Lose has been pushed to February the 19th next year. The trailer of Vikramaditya Motwani's Control, starring Ananya Pandey, released on Tuesday. The film stars Ananya Pandey as a young woman who relinquishes control of her life to artificial intelligence after a traumatic event. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted India's gold-winning chess contingent at his residence in New Delhi today. Rishabh Pant re-entered the Test batting rankings at 6th position off the back of a century in India's victory over Bangladesh in Chennai. Harry Brooks smashed his maiden ODI 100 as England beat Australia by 46 runs on the basis of DLS method in the third ODI. England Cricket Board has introduced equal salaries to men and women across professional domestic cricket format from next year. France's World Cup winning and Real Madrid defender Prasar Bharati announced his retirement from football at the age of 31. Real Madrid edges past Alaves by 3-2 at home in La Liga, courtesy of goals from Lucas, Kylian Mbappe and Rodrigo. Indian duo of Jeevan and Vijay Sundar won the Hangzhou Open 2024 title as they beat Germany in men's doubles final in China. Indian duo of Trisha Jolie and Gayatri Gopichand beat Japan's Akari Sato and Maya Taguchi in women's doubles category. They entered into the second round of Macau Open. South Korea's Lee Yoo-II takes role consulting coach of Indian shuttler PV Sindhu on interim basis. Sindhu will return to action next month in Arctic Open Super 500 in Finland. And Carlos Alcaraz secures his place in ATP finals to be held in Turin. Alcaraz joined world number 1 Yannick Sinner and twice champion Alexander Zverev. And with this, it's a wrap here on Express News for now, but news and updates will continue here on DD India. So don't go anywhere, keep watching and keep tracking DD India for all latest news and updates from the country and the world. Thank you so much for joining us right now. Namaskar.